Hi, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Welcome back to my channel, The Holy Humanist. Today, we have a very special guest with us and the first of her kind, so I'm very, very excited. We've got a wonderful lady called Esther, who is a former Christian, and she's also training to be a counselor or therapist, as some people call it, which we're going to find out a lot more about as we speak to her. There's a lot to unpack today, specifically, I can't speak today, specifically about her story and generally just like the parallels and the differences in, leaving any faith behind, but in our cases, particularly Christianity and Islam. So before I bring Esther on, I'd like to encourage all of you to please go ahead and subscribe to her YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is Afro-Humanist. I will share my screen with you now. So this is Esther's YouTube channel. She's got amazing videos on here, which she's going to tell us a lot more about. But yeah, I'm going to also pop the link in the chat. So please do go ahead and show some love to Esther's channel. And on that note, without any further ado, let's bring in Esther. Oh, you were here this whole time. I literally thought you had oh my gosh. Anyway, Esther, you sat through that whole introduction. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, anyway, I was going to say welcome, but yeah, thank you so much for joining us. You are also in the UK. It's so nice to talk to somebody who's, also local to the UK. But yeah, I just want to say it's an absolute pleasure to have you here and welcome.
Thank you. I'm usually in the chat somewhere.
You are. That's
yeah.
actually how we met, funnily enough.
Yeah. And today I'm I'm having a conversation with you, which is good.
Yeah, it's amazing. We actually met on that one podcast we did with the Atheist Alliance UK on Christmas, I think it was, and I had no idea you were the face behind who I'd spoken to in the comments. So it was when you were like, "Oh my God, Nuria," I was like, "Yes, we definitely need to talk some more," because yeah, you've been supporting my channel from the get-go. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that as well. You were always there. You were modding the chats as well, contributing, emailing me as well, just really having my back. So I really appreciate that. Right, guys. So Esther, can you hear me okay, by the way?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. If there's any issues with our audio or video, please just let us know in the chat and we will do our best to sort it out. But we've kind of taken care of everything behind the scenes, backstage. So we're going to roll with it. So Esther, if you could just please kind of give us some background, let my viewers know really like who you are, what church you belong to, what denomination of Christianity, and just kind of like some background context, what your upbringing was like, just so we get some insight into how you grew up.
Okay, so I'm Esther, middle-aged woman. I consider myself.
Beautiful woman. You look beautiful, Esther, by the way.
Thank you. I live in the UK, but my origins was from Africa. Half Nigerian. Grew up in Nigeria when I was really young. So my formative years were in Nigeria, and Nigeria is a very, very religious country, very religious. If you're not a Christian, you are a Muslim. And my mom and dad were Christians. Still are Christians. Well, my mom sadly passed last year.
I'm
But
so sorry.
Thank you. She was a Christian till the day she died. We went to, it was the Pentecostal version of Christianity, but it was a very strict, very, very strict version of Christianity. I grew up, I did not know what an atheist was. I had no clue what being an atheist was. I was just born going to church and doing what everybody does. I assumed that having belief in God of some kind was universal. I thought it was what everyone in the world believed, and
Mm-hmm.
just carried on. My faith meant a lot to me. It was everything. So, I came to the UK about 20 years ago, and even then, I still carried on going to church. I still, you know, but then um, when I came to the UK, I was told that the way they do church here in the UK is a bit too liberal, a little bit too relaxed. And so
Yeah.
if you must go to church, you've got to find an African based church, because the way the English people do church, that's not church at all, you know.
Right.
So I carried on going to s- the Pentecost African um, denominations, over time.
Mm-hmm.
And a few years ago, it was a couple of 2 3 years ago, um, I I started thinking about taking up leadership in church.
Okay.
I Yeah, I was by this time I'd started going to the Church of England. I'd completed the first year of um, Living Faith, it was called, the first year of a course for people who want to take up ministry within the
Uh-huh.
Church of England.
Oh,
Done the
wow.
first year, done the second year, Pathways to Ministry. I've got my certificate staring at me right there. And after then, I I just started asking questions. I started asking, why do I believe what I believe? Because if I'm going to become a priest in the Church of England, that's like becoming a leader, a pastor in the church, at least
Mm-hmm.
I need to know what this is all about,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when I started doing these courses and, just looking at the origins of Christianity, I realized I did not have a clue what this religion was all about.
Oh, my
It,
days. Yeah.
it's like, the more we went to this training and the more we did study, it's
Yeah.
like new things were open to me. And I started asking, how come I didn't know this? How come, how come this is, you know, I'm an atheist today because I asked the questions. Why? What? Where? How? Those questions brought me out
You
of.
asked the unaskable, Esther. You really
I
did.
did. When that ball started to roll,
Yeah.
there was no stopping it. There was no stopping it. And so
Yeah.
I'm here today. And
So sorry, can I yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
YouTube was a
Mm-hmm.
very big part of my deconversion. YouTube was.
Yeah.
And one of the videos that I watched on YouTube said, there are not many people of color,
Mm-hmm.
people from ethnic and minority backgrounds who are, you know, left religion and speaking about it, and being a face on YouTube. And so I decided, as part of my journey out of Christianity, I would start a YouTube channel,
Mm-hmm.
where I would speak about my experiences and speak about some of the things that I find problematic in the Christian religion. And so, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's again such a massive similarity because YouTube, when I started searching putting those keywords in, is like things like, is Islam the truth? And you know what, as you were saying, like asking those questions, and once that ball is rolling, YouTube is the perfect platform anyway to get lost in these rabbit holes of related videos. But some of these are genuinely life altering and life changing. And I cannot commend you enough for, you know, taking that further step, and not just learning from YouTube, but then, you know, leaving your own mark on YouTube and contributing and trying to spread awareness and knowledge and everything that maybe, you know, you were in the dark with for so long, that's kind of come to light for you, and you're putting your time and energy and effort out there to speak about these things. So massive kudos for that, mad respect. And just that I had a bunch of like questions in an organized format to ask you, but seeing as though this conversation is just, I can already sense it's so interesting, it's just going to meander. But so I'm just going to stop you based on what you just said. When you say so there was the Pentecostal church, and you said it was strict. I just want to know, how strict are we talking here? What was it like?
Okay, so this church that my mom and dad took us to when we were kids, it was so strict. The focus was on holiness. They believed that the other Christians, so this particular church believed that Catholics are not true Christians. Even other denominations that are Pentecostals are not true Christians. Now, what they believe,
even other Pentecostal churches,
oh yes,
just so I can, okay.
yes. Now, you have to have your hair covered at all times. The women,
wow, fully covered.
Yes, fully covered. You mustn't have any of your. Anyways, the way I am dressed now, as far as that church is concerned, I'm on my way to hell.
Yeah,
I've got
my
lipstick
word.
on. I've got earrings on. I've got my extensions in.
Looking beautiful. This is God.
I've got jewelry on. These are
Even
things
jewelry.
Yes, they're no jewelry at all.
Not even like studded earrings.
No, nothing.
Oh my
No
word.
earrings.
Okay.
Then the dressing was such that, so this would be perfect for the women. Covered your neck, your arms must be covered. So women were not allowed to wear trousers.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you wore trousers, that was sin. Women were not allowed to show off any parts of their bodies. The men, same sort of thing, but the men, yeah, they everything had to be done modestly. We went to church at least 3 times a week. There was just so many rules and so many things that we had to follow.
Is this just so all of these restrictions for clothing and no jewelry and all of this, is this just for church, or is this something you're meant to maintain, like this decorum throughout your life?
Throughout your life, not just for church.
Oh,
when members of this church are getting married, on the day of the wedding, the women are not even allowed any piece of jewelry.
So and what do they wear?
That's the thing. They can wear white, right? They can wear white, but there's a dress code. There's a code and how this dresses must be. Oh, do you know the Amish?
Yeah.
Get the Amish. Those kind of dresses.
Okay. Oh my word. So I had no idea that the Pentecostal church was this strict. This is giving me
Some.
complete, like, similar Islamic PTSD kind of vibes. The same level of, like, almost like
Mm.
totalitarian
Yeah.
control over your body and every last little thing, like to remove your femininity and kind of erase you from society, and just all of these really intense demands.
It's so bad that in this church
Mm.
they have a marriage committee, and
Yeah.
this marriage committee, the women never approach the men. So the man believes he believes that God tells him who his future partner should be. God has to
Okay.
either reveal this to you
Mm.
or in a dream or something. Then he has to go to the marriage committee, and the marriage committee, they will pray. They will bring both parties together and tell the lady that this man has been given this vision by God. So you go ahead and pray and see whether God is saying the same thing as well. And she would come back and say, yes, God is saying the same thing. Yeah, so we can both be together. And so during the time of courtship, they both will be chaperoned. They're not allowed to be on their own at
Right.
all until after they have said the marriage vows.
Oh my gosh. So up from that point where they've both said that God has said, yes, that's the partner for me, they're not allowed to be alone
Alone
together at
together.
any
No,
point, no matter what age they
no,
are,
no.
until the wow, this is this is so similar to, like, even like how it is in the
Mm,
Muslim
mm.
culture and tradition. It is insanely similar. And um
You do realize Nigeria has so it's mainly Christians and Muslims.
yeah.
A
Yeah,
lot
and
of
no, is it northern Nigeria that is more
the northern
predominantly
Nigeria,
Muslim?
there's more Muslim.
Right.
Right. But the thing with churches in Nigeria, Africa, is most of them are run by individuals.
Mhm.
So I can decide I want to start my own church. And then the
Oh,
church, yes, and then the church will grow and grow and grow. And so it's my rules.
okay,
But the
so
thing is,
you have to implement Christianity, but then you can bend the
oh, yeah,
rules according to
absolutely.
what you want?
Absolutely. But then these people don't say, these are my rules. No, they say, this is God.
Gods, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and God spoke to me, God told me, and God this and this, and so when they come up with these rules, it's God, and you can't
Yeah.
really question that, can you? If you're
Yeah.
a member there, you can't question it because
But
God
then
has said it.
doesn't that lead to way more kind of like just a constant spiraling, like
Hmm.
exponential denominations just saying that one's wrong, that one's wrong, that one's wrong. Like,
Oh
it's
yeah.
very much like the infighting within the Muslims, like all the different sects that just constantly think the others are
No,
completely wrong.
Nariah, church in Africa is a menace.
Yeah.
There are churches everywhere. I've got a photo on my channel. Um, one one building, I think it's about 3 or 4 stories. One building
Yeah.
has 8 churches in it.
Bloody hell. One building with 8 churches and all possibly run by
All
individuals who have started their own.
different, all different, all
Oh,
different.
so, and what's the procedure like in terms of trying to, if I wanted to start my own church, what's like the bureaucracy or the application procedure? What is it like? Silly question. It's just I want it, it's happening.
The procedure is
Mm.
start in your living room,
Oh, right. Yeah.
start in your bedroom.
Yeah.
If you can gather 2, 3 people, a
Yeah.
lot of the churches in Nigeria started off in people's living rooms.
Wow. Okay.
Started in campus.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one of the big ones, Christ Embassy. He started off in campus. He was a student there, and
Hmm.
we just gathered some students and together. And today he's got an international ministry.
Oh, wow. So he's
Hmm.
opened up churches, let's say in like America
All
and
over.
England and
Yes, yes.
oh my days. Okay,
It's
this is
it's is it's
madness.
it is it is an and because there's all this so many churches, everyone just does whatever they like.
Yeah.
I and that's why I have my channel. Most of my videos um focus on the African version of church
Right.
and how these people run church and how they control people. I've got a video of a pastor has his feet on a member's head.
Oh, what? Yeah, I have
Yes, it
seen
is
these
crazy.
actually.
But
I've seen videos like as crazy as that on the internet thinking but again, I just thought it was like, a complete well, it is like you're saying if these are
mm-hmm,
individual
mm-hmm,
people. So, but then, well, my question to you, Esther, is if you're a woman and you're associated or affiliated with like the Pentecostal church, but then you come across somebody else that's kind of started in their living room and got two or three people worked their way up and has laxer rules when it comes to women, wouldn't it also open up those options that like actually I won't follow this one anymore, that one's a bit more chill, let me go over there,
oh
this one
yeah, oh
allows.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
So is there a lot of
So
switching going on as well,
oh,
or
absolutely, absolutely. Most of the people go to the church what they find suits um their personality, suits
yeah, yeah.
their what their desires are, right? I want to
Mhm.
go to that church because I want to wear white on a
Yeah,
Sunday. There's churches where they wear white. There's churches where um, uh, it, you can find a church to suit just any need.
yeah,
Just go out
yeah,
there, go
pretty
look for
much.
it. It's
It's like shopping for
yes.
the custom made suit. Just find one that fits all your needs. And
Some people, some
yeah.
people on a Sunday can go to three different churches. The family
Oh,
go to Catholic church, but they
hmm,
go to a Pentecostal church. So the
right.
Catholics might start at 9 o'clock. They'll go with the family at 9 o'clock, but
Mm.
because they're not meeting their needs, they want more of the music, the pump, the vibe. Once they're done in the Catholic church, straight away they head up to the Pentecostal church. So
Oh my
mm,
word. Okay, so yeah, it's just wherever you can get your fix, and if you can't get your fix at one place, you just kind of it's like bar hopping or pub crawl, but for churches.
mhm,
This
mhm.
is crazy. And also, so yeah, that's another thing I wanted to touch on is my understanding, like a lot of the African denominations of Christianity focus a lot more on, the singing and like the carols, and it's a lot more of like a jolly kind of upbeat, almost I'd go as far as to say like party like atmosphere. But then correct me if I'm wrong, is Pentecostal also the same church that does like the speaking in tongues and all of that?
Oh yes,
Or
yes, yes,
yeah?
yes.
Okay. So
Mhm.
so what so can you so I've always been
I
just
can
so
I
like
can I can still
in
speak in tongues.
wait, so can you
I can still speak in
say
tongues. I can still just I can roll it out.
really? So how does it
Mm.
work? Can you so because I come from a really Islamic background. I've just seen it in like on YouTube actually and in videos, and I'm just like, this is insane. When people, yeah. So can you just explain to us, for us, some of us like complete newbies,
Okay,
what happens?
so for the Pentecostals, they believe that when Jesus Christ died and resurrected, right?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ went up, Holy Spirit was sent down. All right. So the
Yeah.
Holy Spirit, how you know that you have got this Holy Spirit living inside of you, one of the markers or the identifiable characteristics of having this Holy Spirit is the ability to speak in tongues.
Right.
Speaking in tongues is speaking to God. It's a direct language between you and God
Mm-hmm.
that nobody else, well, can understand.
Okay.
You can speak in tongues whenever you like, but when you're in public, when you're in church setting and you're speaking in tongues, there has to be a translator. Someone must be able to translate. So those tongues are not just, they're not supposed to be just anything. They have to be coherent to some kind of language, to some kind of, but right now it is a mess with the whole speaking in tongues because anybody can speak in tongues.
Yeah.
Naraya, you
Right.
just need to open your mouth and just, there you go. That's all you need.
But you're saying, so if I'm speaking and it's almost like I'd say gibberish, you're saying for it to count as actually like like my direct communication with God, it has to be somewhat coherent in a specific language to
It it should be.
it
It
should
should.
be.
It should be, but it usually isn't. You would find that most of them speak gibberish. You would find it's gibberish. And because nobody can understand the gibberish, they just carry on. Am I? I'm not sure what's happened. Oh, okay. Right. So speaking in tongues, it as far as I'm concerned, it's madness. Madness, because all you need to do is just open your mouth and you're speaking in tongues. Just say whatever. Bakarabababa, shandarabababa. That's it. It's nothing. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Some say Jesus never existed in reality. Hmm. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I cannot say for definite whether Jesus existed or not. I would never say he did or he didn't. But I would say if he did exist, what a pathetic existence. What a pathetic existence. That Jesus only existed for the sole purpose of being a sacrifice to his daddy. His daddy needed some kind of sacrifice, and his daddy, God, had to send him down to come and be a sacrifice for people. It's a pathetic existence. And so if he did exist, not for me. Do you have to act like you are speaking in tongues as well? Yes. Yes. A lot of speaking in tongues is just pretense. People just pretend to be speaking like it means something when it really doesn't. He was born as a sacrificial sheep. Exactly, Harris. Um, so when people say, "Oh, Jesus existed or he didn't exist," it doesn't bother me whether he existed. My focus is not whether he's a mythical um, um, being, or in fact he did really walk this earth. If he did, just think about it, that God the Father and God the Son and the Holy Spirit concocted, they all came up with this plan that we want to forgive humanity. Adam and Eve ate this apple or fruit, whatever you call it. And because these two uh, um, humans ate this fruit, sorry,
Sorry, Esther,
I was, I
you're
was,
a
I,
legend.
I was going on and on and on there.
Well, thank you so much. You're a legend. My entire Wi-Fi crashed in my whole house. I'm
Okay.
so
Oh
sorry.
no.
I am so sorry. You were sorry everybody for that disruption. We were trying to not make this happen, but my Wi-Fi just completely
It's
crashed.
okay.
We're back now. Esther, where I left you, you were talking about tongues, but if you've moved on from that, that's totally cool. I was
Oh
just
no. I will go back to speaking in tongues.
okay.
I will definitely go back to speaking in tongues. Hey Ultra, hello, hello.
Oh,
See my friend Ultra in the chat. Hey.
Ultra's in the house, sending you
Mm-hmm.
love. Thank you, Ultra, for being here and for the support. And yes, Afro-Humanist is the best. We're
Hey.
just getting stuck in.
So
Esther, there's so many people sending you so
I
much. Some
know.
people
Hey
know.
Beach Price, hello.
Yeah, guys, Esther's YouTube channel is also in the link, so please do go and check that out. Please subscribe and yeah, right. Okay, let's get cracking. This cannot get derailed. So Esther, yeah. So you said it has to be a little bit a little bit coherent in a certain language. How does that
So
work? If yeah.
the idea is, in the Bible they talk about the day of Pentecost. This was the time when Jesus had gone up,
Mm,
and Jesus had promised the disciples that he told them to wait, to gather together, wait, and there would be something, someone would come and, will come and visit them, will come in his place. He's not just going to leave them, he's not just going to leave them bare. He's not just going to just go and leave them, right? And so this spirit came over the disciples and the people who were gathered. And
right.
the scripture says that some of them had a ball of fire on their head. Some of them started to speak in foreign languages that people around could understand, right?
Okay.
So the people around, seeing these Jewish people,
Mm-hmm.
and one is speaking in French, one is speaking in Swahili, another one,
Mm,
people around just notice,
mm,
oh, what's going on here? These are Jewish people. They've never been to my country. And,
mm.
how come they're speaking my language? So the whole idea is the people around should be able to, someone should be able to understand what you are speaking.
Okay.
If you must speak in tongues, there has to be translation. Someone must translate.
Right. And
But
what
but
is usually what are they usually saying when the messages are translated?
prayers.
Okay,
God
just
help me. God save the world. God deliver me from trouble. Deliver me from pain. Make my life better. Make things better for me. Provide
mhm.
me money. Provide me those
Oh,
just prayers between you
yeah.
and God. Your communication between you and God. That's it, really.
Okay, okay. So nothing like life altering that would like some dropping some crazy knowledge from somewhere.
Maybe some people do listen. It's become a people tell so many lies about this thing. Because they need to make it such a unique thing than what it is. It really isn't. It's just nonsense.
Yeah.
But because
Yeah.
people need to make it look like it's indeed a supernatural wonder, they come and tell you things that aren't true. They are not true. Someone would come and say, they would come and they speak, "Lakababa Sandara Baba Baba Shondore Bobo," and somebody will come along and tell you, "Oh, that means God is here with us. And
Uh-huh.
God says Nariah is beautiful."
Yeah. Oh, thank you, God. Why are you such a douchebag otherwise? But yeah, exactly. It's complete and utter nonsense. So obviously at the time when you would engage in like speaking in tongues and you were part of this entire, setup. So in the Pentecostal church that you were in as well, it was super strict. We've established Nigeria is like kind of, I'm guessing it's like a booming church business then with
Oh
just,
yes. Oh
supply
yes.
is crazy. And as you were saying, so very strict. And then we were talking about the aspect more where, there's a lot of kind of like that uplifting, positive vibe that you find in these churches when everyone's singing en masse and, it's very upbeat and it's almost like a surreal party atmosphere. Obviously, that would bring such a sense of community amongst people. That's just like a feel good activity, right? Like almost
Mm-hmm,
when
mm-hmm.
people do like laughter yoga or something like that. It gets your adrenaline flowing, it gets your endorphins flowing, you feel happy. So while you were a believing Christian, did you like this entire kind of all of these little aspects of the church, or did you have bits of like, I don't really know why I'm doing that, or this is just pure fun, or did you have that true sense of conviction? I guess what I'm trying to ask is, how did you feel about God and all of these processes in order to reach or please God while you were a believing Christian?
Before I answer that question, I need to also let you know that
Mm-hmm.
some sects of Islam are starting to copy these Pentecostal churches.
Mm-hmm.
I have a video on my channel of a Muslim cleric, but the woman, she's laying her hands on people, and
Yeah.
they're receiving healing, just like what the faith healers do,
Uh-huh.
right? Some of them now are starting to copy after the Pentecostal version of churches. So in
Right.
a lot of the churches, there's a mixture of Islam and Christianity. In some cases, they're starting now to. It's a mess.
Under the guise of what, being another denomination of the Pentecostal church, or a complete different thing outright?
Everyone wants to show that they're unique. Every denomination wants to show that I am better than the other.
Yeah.
I have special powers than the other person. And so I can do this. I can invoke spirits. I can invoke generation, as things they call generational curses and generational blessings, and prophecy. That's a big one. Uh
Mm.
Prophecy. That's the big thing right now. People, I can tell you, Nariah, tell you about what you ate yesterday.
Mm.
And if I got that right, what you ate yesterday, if I told you, Nariah, that you had some rice yesterday
Mm-hmm.
at 5 p.m., and if I was correct, you would think,
But you
how did you
are.
know that?
Right.
And that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I've got you hooked. And so
Oh my
anything
goodness.
anything that comes from my mouth any further, you would believe. I can
Mm-hmm.
then tell you, God who revealed what you ate yesterday has told me to tell you that you should deposit £1,000 into my account, and you will get a blessing by tomorrow.
That was quick, mate. You just told me what I had for dinner and now I'm depositing money.
Listen,
Sounds
some pastors,
sketchy.
some pastors in Nigeria, I know there's one pastor, he said during COVID, he bought his fourth private jet.
What? That's,
So
see, you know what? That's when it gets like to the point where you're like, this is why we have to speak about this nonsense.
yes.
You know, when there's people who have lost absolutely everything and have ended up homeless and on the streets, people who are literally going through mental health crises, um, and they're like people. There's to like even in just the UK alone, Esther. If we talk about it, the things that people are now dealing with as a result of the pandemic, besides the lockdown, and then you have people who are living a tax-free life. They're earning money from this tax-free business. They're just their pockets are getting richer and richer, flying around on private jets. Not one, not two. How many did you say? 7?
Four. You bought his
Four.
fourth. Mm.
Fourth. Who? Why do you need
I
4 private jets in the first place?
I just
It's
want to
beyond me.
highlight one mega videos channel. His or her comment. The pastors charge money for blessing, holy water, prayer, healing, everything. Everything is sold at a price.
Oh, so to
Everything.
even
So
sprinkle a bit of water, they'll charge you.
everything, everything, even to
Oh,
speak to you, even to come online, just like what we're doing now. They
yeah,
these pastors, they've got their ministries online, and right there they've got their cash app details, they've got their all the details, everything. You want to have a one-to-one session with the pastor, you've got to drop some money in there. You've got to put some money in there. It's all just everything
oh my
everything
word.
comes at a price.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
Um,
to answer your question,
mhm.
there were things that I personally didn't agree with, and there were times when I would speak up, but I was made to look like a devil, because this is the norm. This is how we do it here. And if you're expressing doubt, if you're expressing, if you challenge these preachers, then you're either filled with the devil's
Yeah.
taking over you somehow, or you've given room to the evil one to come take over you. And they make you feel like you are the worst of the worst. And they create an environment where you cannot challenge you can't challenge the norm. This is how
Mhm.
we do things here, and if you don't like it, just and that's why there's so many churches. So
Yeah.
most of the churches, what you would find is one church is usually a breakout church from another, and the cycle continues. I don't like what the pastor said tomorrow, I'll gather a few people and we'll go and start our own church next
Yeah.
Sunday, and that's it. That's how many of the churches start. We don't like what's done here, let's go
Uh-huh.
somewhere else and go start our own church. That's what you get.
Wow. Okay, on that note, I have a follow-up question for you because I'm just intrigued. But I just want to address the super chat. Ultra, thank you again for your support. Ultra says, if religion was true, I'd be a theist. Hashtag checkmate. Yeah.
Ultra.
Yeah, so would I, Ultra, for sure. Um,
I
did you want to
think
say anything
if
to Ultra?
Yeah, oh no, ultra, ultra is we're super atheists. We are, we're super
Right.
atheists, and if God really wanted to make himself, herself known, would have made it so easy for everyone to identify who
Mhm.
you are. Just come and show yourself. Tell us who you are. Just you can just do it in such a way that he reveals himself to every single person all in one go, and then he can be specific. He can tell
Mhm.
us whether he is the Muslim version of, is it the Muslims who got it right, is it the
No, please no.
Christians, is it the Christians
Please
who got it
no.
right, is it the Jews? And
No, not them
if
either.
if if it's the Christians, he has to tell us which one of the over 40,000 denominations and counting, which one of them is he a part of? You know, he at least he should let us know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same thing with Islam, by the way. Like, each single sect thinks that they've got the one true correct message, and they're following in the exact same way. And the infighting is that they'll hate on each other, and according to their own theology, the other ones are not worthy to be in heaven. So come down, clear it up. It's very simple. If you're an all-knowing, omnipotent being, it's very simple to pass on a message, a universal message. If you want the world to believe, you can make the world believe. It's just that you're not there, so it's a shambles. The world is a
It
shambles.
is. It is.
And I also just want to address this super chat from Haris Sultan is in the house.
Hey,
Thanks so much for your
Harris. I love
support, Haris.
Harris. I do.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I love Harris.
Haris is saying to you, Esther, thank you for enlightening us about Christianity in Africa. We always tend to ignore it.
I think that we need to carry on speaking about religion in Africa. I'm passionate about it. It breaks my heart because the poor people who cannot feed, who cannot, they don't know where their next meal is coming from, but they still feel the need, because the Bible says we must give our 10% out of money they haven't got. They would still take a tenth of that, deny themselves, deny their families, because they've got to give this 10%. People are going broke and pastors getting rich because the Bible says you've got to give your 10%. You know, you see the pastor's children are being shipped. Sorry, it's always the pastor's children are taken to the UK, they're taken to the US, they go to school, the best of schools over there. And the poor people are told that you have to give us your money. People will borrow money because they believe that they have been taught these doctrines that the more you give to God. Now, mind you, God doesn't have a bank account. We don't know what God's bank account is, but whatever money you give to your church, that's giving to God. And you mustn't question where this money is going, what the money is being used to do. It's not your business. Once you give that money, that's it. So it breaks my heart that people have been lied to. They still are being lied to. I mean, there's so many videos. I just come on YouTube, I see people, just anybody. People have never been to theology school, never been to the four walls of a seminary school, nothing. They just pick up a Bible and that's it. They just would tell you, I had a dream last night and God appeared to me in my dream and God told me to start a church, and that's it. Young ladies are being abused in these places. Young men are in church 5 days a week. They can't go because they believe that being in the church means they're close to God and God will answer their prayers. You see people, someone who is a internet fraudster, before they start their internet fraud, they're praying to God, asking God to give them, they say, God, provide me victims. In Jesus' name I pray. God should provide victims of internet fraud. Sorry. It's crazy. And when those victims, when they manage to get these victims, 10% of the internet fraud goes to the church.
Yeah. Wow. No, thank you. That was I'm so sorry that that question got you emotional, but also I'm very glad because it's such an important topic, and that's why when I was saying earlier, kudos for you to speak, and especially this niche of like when it comes to like, for example, I had no idea about how controlling and how suffocating and how much of to the what extent this money making scam is, that it's like a national scandal. And these are countries where people are they're already not positioned well enough to um, be safeguarded from people manipulating them. This is sheer mass manipulation. It's taking advantage of people who. I just wanted to ask you as a side note as well, do you think it's just taking advantage of a certain level of gullibility as well for people who don't have potentially the same critical thinking skills and the same access to education, and so the sense of community and comfort and hope that these pastures, these I'd honestly call them criminals at this point, um, the way that they lure them in, it's just exacerbating the problem. Because as you said, it's so sad to me that these young boys are dedicating so much time and energy, potentially at the prime of their life, where they could be, studying and trying to progress in life and learning things, like real things about the real world, and so that they can then change the game for their family and their future children. But that's all being taken away from them. Obviously,
It is.
yeah.
Can you just excuse me just for a minute,
Sure,
please?
sure. Um, okay, there's a couple of other super chats. Haris Sultan, thank you so much again. And thank you for just being here and, supporting this and this cause as well, because like you said, it's very important. Haris says, Ultra is my kind of atheist. And I think Ultra responded to Haris and goes, I am you, hashtag Haris Sultan. And Ultra is like us. Yeah, definitely one of us. Thank you so much for your support, Ultra. I just want to
Sorry
address
about
this.
that.
That's okay, Esther. No worries at all. There's another super chat from D. D saying, guys, please support Leo Igwe's AFAW organization, Advocacy for Alleged Witches. Okay, if I mean, please definitely do go ahead and support that. Do you know about this, Esther? I have never heard of this. Oh, I can't hear you. You are muted at the minute. Hold on, let me try. Oh, yeah. You need to unmute yourself, Esther. There you are.
Sorry about that. There was
That's
a
all
knock
right.
on the door.
That's all
I was
right.
trying to sort that out. Oh, by the way, Leo Igwe. I do know Leo Igwe.
Oh, okay. Can you
And
please enlighten us?
oh my goodness. Are you sure you
What?
want to?
Oh,
You sure you
no.
want to go into this?
I mean, well, Dee's brought it up. I think I know, judging by what you're saying, it's not going to be pleasant at all. But you know what? If it's important, let's definitely do it. If you're okay to talk about it, are you?
I can talk about it, but it's
Okay.
not good.
Okay.
So Leo Igwe is he's a humanist.
Uh-huh.
And this whole thing of witchcraft, this is another aspect of religion that completely just sickening. These religious people have convinced people that they are spiritual beings that control everything. There's the good, there's the bad. So the good, that's the angels and Christ, Allah, or whatever. Then there's the evil, the witches. And these witches, all they do is to bring bad luck. They harm people. These witches will come in the middle of the night, have sex with you while you're sleeping. They will They do all this voodoo, tie you up. So when things are not going good for you, what you need to do is go to a church, go and ask the
Yeah.
pastor to pray. Then the pastor would turn around and say, your mom is behind your problems. Your mom is the witch. Your dad is the witch. There's a witch in your family. What's causing this to you? Or they would say, your 3 generations before you, there was a
Mhm.
witch there who had done something. And if we don't pray, there's going to be problems. There's going to be, you're going to run mad. You're going to have issues for the rest of your life, these witches. So innocent people have been accused of being witches.
Yeah.
Children are being accused. Young children, there are parts of Nigeria that believe that witches use children. I've got a video on my channel about
Mhm.
this child. The title is The Child Witches of Africa. Poor children. Just a child is born and the child is different, just different. They might be autistic, they might be on
Mhm.
the spectrum, but these people have managed to convince. It's the religious people, it's the religious leaders. They are the ones that say, God told me that this child is a witch. And some people, all they need to hear is just witch. That's it. They're ready to lynch you. They will kill these witches. So Leo Igwe, he's doing a fantastic job.
Mhm.
But it's such a huge problem because when your religious leader tells you that your mother is a witch and your mother is the one who is the source of your problems, people's mothers have been killed. I've seen videos. I've got videos which I cannot put on YouTube. There's a video of a young lady beating up her own mother and killed her own mother because her Islamic leader told her that her mother is a witch. So Leo Igwe, he is fighting this cause. He is. At what point do you start to tell people that these things that are in the spiritual do not exist? When you have convinced people that there's a God that they've not seen, there are angels, there
Yeah.
are these things. Of course, these people they easily would listen. People believe in things like spiritual husbands, Naraya.
Yeah.
There's such a thing called spiritual husband, spiritual
Yeah.
wife. Some people, men go to sleep at night, just wake up the next morning, have an erection, and it happens 2 3 nights in a row. He will go to his pastor. Oh, I don't know what's wrong with me. And the pastor would say, it's a spiritual wife. A spiritual wife has come to sleep with you in the middle of the night, and we need to pray. So
Mhm.
go and bring 200 naira. Come and buy my anointing oil. Come and buy my prayer blanket, my prayer handkerchief, my it's all just a money
Mhm.
making scheme. But when
Mhm.
you have convinced millions and millions of people to believe in this supernatural, in this thing. There's these witches and there's wizards and there these look, I've been accused of being a witch myself. And I'm I am I'm glad that when that accusation was made, I was in the UK.
Mhm.
Otherwise, if I was back in Africa, I don't know what would have happened to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. No, so that just seems like a really intense topic to talk about. If that accusation was made while you were still in Africa, I just want to say I'm so happy. I think you've been in the UK for about 20 odd years, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm just so happy that you had the foresight to see that the way you are and the way you think and the questions that you ask are just not gonna fly back home, and you need to like move to a country where you can express yourself and think the way you want, and you are able to stand up and say all of this is just absolute bullshit. All this, as you're saying, wizards, angels, fairies, talking animals, it's absolutely all nonsense. And in Islam we have similar concepts where you have like the jinn, which is like a desert genie, I guess. What is it in Christianity? The closest thing was I forgot. Would you guys have demons? Is that what you call them?
Yeah, demons, yes.
Demons. So yeah, a jinn is pretty much the same concept, and we have similar things. Like my grandparents would tell me actual stories like they were fact of, instances of the house that they lived in, that a man thought that or a woman thought that there was like a one of these these desert devils, like these desert genies, demon type things, who was in love with her and wanted to break her away from her husband. And she would think that every day he would come and like leave flowers for her, and so she wasn't able to sleep in the same room as her husband because he would get angry. And then some people genuinely believed that there was like a demon genie thing in like a particular room, and he would just like come out of this man every day at a certain like hour of the day. And you realize these are some serious like problems that they're overlooking. Like that man had some serious underlying like mental health issues that needed addressing for his own safety and his own sake, but they would just keep him like in a room and say, oh, it's that time of night where the genie descends on him and like he goes crazy for a while. No, like you can't rationalize your way through these things. But I'm really grateful that you shed light on that. Yeah.
Christians, they try to convince us that Jesus is he's a loving, he was a good guy. He was God's answer to the problems of humanity, right? In the
Yeah.
Bible, it's in the Bible that Jesus, he was trying to remove these demons from this man who had a ton of demons. And these demons said to Jesus, we're so many. We're so many. There's a lot of us. And Jesus tells the demons to come out of the man, and he sends the demons into the swine, right? Swine,
Mm-hmm.
pigs.
Mm-hmm.
And all those pigs went off the cliff. I think they all went and they all died. Jesus caused the death of those animals.
Yeah.
What on earth did those animals do to deserve that?
Yeah.
If Jesus was so strong and so mighty, why couldn't he just get rid of those demons without killing those the swine? Why did he have
Mm-hmm.
to do that? Jesus is not a nice guy after all. There are passages in the Bible where Jesus was a nasty so and so. One lady came up to Jesus. I think it was her daughter, her son was sick at home. And she comes to Jesus, Jesus, help, help, help. And Jesus ignores her. Jesus ignores her. And she starts to shout, and she starts to shout. And the disciples, they tell the woman, shush, go away. Go away. We don't want to, you're disturbing us. And the lady, she carries on. She insists, I must see this Jesus. And finally, Jesus decides to answer her. And what does Jesus say to her? Woman, what can I do for you? And the woman says, oh, please, I need help. My son, my daughter, whatever, is sick. And Jesus says to her, I haven't come for people like yourself. I've come for my special people. You're not included in that. I've not come for the likes of people like you. You don't deserve what I can do for my people. And then the lady says something. She says something to Jesus. She says, even the dogs eat from the crumbs of the of the masters. And then Jesus
Yeah.
turns around and says to her, "Oh, you got me there, woman. Your faith is strong. Your faith has made me change my." Jesus says to her that I haven't come for people like you. You don't deserve. No.
Wow, this is exactly why I wanted to like talk to you, because this is what you hinted at in the podcast we did with Atheist Alliance UK. And again, my knowledge when it comes to like the actual intricacies of the Bible is so limited, but all I do is like make these, well, I know about Christianity through the Islamic take on it, but then my only exposure to Christianity really was when I was at school growing up here, and like we did all the fun parts like the nativity, the carols. I love it all. But it was always for me the comparison with Muhammad, because I always thought that Jesus, he never ever was responsible for the death of anybody or incited murder and hate and revenge. It was always more kind of very pacifist, like, the golden rule, for example, just like exemplified, and like, if you like, whoever has not sinned cast the first stone, and it was very toned down compared to like this warlord of a character that Muhammad was to me. But then to hear stories like that, when you say even within the Bible there's bits that you can take out where Jesus is not even acting as, just because I've got a thing for law, so I'm just going to say, even as like a reasonable human being would, as a reasonable person, if we uphold him to the standards of like what would a reasonable person do in that situation, this supposed son of God himself, the Holy Spirit, is not meeting the mark in any of those ways. But I had no idea that there are stories that depict Jesus in that light in the Bible themselves, and then he's almost being put in his place by this woman who's like, how can you desert me when you're here? And he's like, no, I'm just here to lead the specific group of people. So yeah, I really appreciate the fact that you're gonna, and I actually do want to ask you your favorite bit of the Bible, but we'll come on to that. Just real quick, I want to address these super chats before we carry on. Spooky Action at a Distance, thank you so much for your super chat. Spooky Action is saying, from Canada here, when I was still a Christian, I was always told by missionaries that miracles happen in Africa all the time. People being raised from the dead, regrowing limbs, etc. Is that something that you've come across in your experience as well, Esther? Or
I would say, when you hear stories like that, take them with a pinch of salt. Honestly, you really need to take stories like that with a pinch of salt. People would do anything for money.
Yeah.
People would do anything for money. They would there have been cases of pastors paying people to fake miracles. Hospitals have written fake medical reports.
Oh my days.
Yes, in Africa, anything can
Everybody's in on
happen.
it. Everybody's in on this. Yeah.
Anything. I've got a video on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
This woman she's got this deformity with her hand.
Yeah.
She can extend, she can retract, right?
Mm-hmm.
5 different pastors brought her to the front of the church and
Yeah.
pretended like they were healing this woman. One minute her hand was up there, and
Yeah.
the next minute her hand stretched out, and they're like, "Oh, she's been healed. Pastors healed her." And then the
Yeah.
next week she's at another church. So people seeing that miracle in church, they think, "Oh, our pastor just did the wonderful miracle. That woman's hand was so short, and now her hand is not knowing that this woman has this. It's a natural skill. She can do.
Mm-hmm.
She can." Until the police went. I think they went and arrested this woman, and that they got her to stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was
So
also going to say, I don't know what the
mm,
implications are for her as well, like, because she's like being paraded
it's
around like a
money.
circus. Yeah, or yeah, it's
She's
money
paying.
both ways.
She's paying.
Goodness, the level of deceit is
Mhm.
just it's unparalleled. Um, Ultra again, Esther says, people of Earth, let go of superstitious nonsense. Totally. The world would be so much better off, honestly. You'd have no idea what the human trajectory of progress could be like if we got rid of all this bullshit that, Esther's really, really kind of got into the darkest bits of what happens if you believe all of this blindingly. It's horrible, the consequences of it. Ray, the producer, is also in the house. Ray, thank you so much for stopping by and for your support. Ray and I do have an Urdu stream coming up, so keep an eye out for that, guys. Ray's saying, Afro-Humanist, can you talk about how albino children in Africa can be killed and their limbs used for magical purposes? Much respect, you're great. Thanks, Ray. Do you have anything to comment on that, Esther?
There are
If you know
lots
about
of
it.
it's people have in Africa. People have many superstitious beliefs. A lot of them have been, they've gotten rid of a lot of these superstitions, but most still, there's still these, things that people believe. And in some cases, these beliefs are transferred into religion. So you have religion and culture mixed together, and it all
Mm,
becomes a mashup. And these religious leaders use these superstitions to for their own benefit. Now, concerning the albino children, as far as I know, I'm not sure if that still carries on, but it was a thing many years ago where
mhm.
albino children would be killed for ritual purposes.
Oh
Not
my
just
word.
albinos. You could be killed for just anything. There are cultures where if a king dies, 7 people have to die alongside him. So 7 people who are alive have to go with this king. So it is a
Would
huge
you
it's a
know? Sorry,
huge
how were they
problem.
chosen? Were they chosen in any specific means, or is that like, do people volunteer themselves? Is it to that extent? Do you?
I can't say precisely how
Okay,
they're chosen.
right.
I can't say how. I just know that I think in
Mm-hmm.
some cases they don't know. They would send these people out in the middle of the night, and
Mm,
they would just, if you're unfortunate to just be wandering the streets,
mm-hmm.
that's it. They get you. My friend's brother,
Flippin' heck. Yeah.
my friend's brother, he worked in the woods. He
Mm-hmm.
started work with timber. They used to go get timber
Mm,
from the what you call them now, the where they go and get the timber.
mm.
And my
Timber mill or
friend's
something, I think it's
brother,
called.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Mm,
my friend's brother went missing, and the next day
mm,
they found his half of him. They found the bottom half down, top half was taken away.
oh my God. Okay. I'm so sorry, Esther.
Have
I don't
you
even have
have
words.
you heard
Who?
have you heard about the boy that was found in the River Thames?
No. When was this?
The boy's limbs, that not limbs, his torso. Yeah, the boy, young boy's
Was this many,
torso.
many years ago when yeah, that was found in the Thames?
Yes,
That was quite a while ago, right? If I'm not mistaken.
So you can imagine these Africans
Mm.
have relocated to the UK, still
Yeah.
believe in these things, and have somehow managed to kill a young child in the UK for these superstitious. And till today, I don't think they know the identity of that young boy. They've traced
Mm.
they managed to, with his DNA, they managed to trace his origins to somewhere in Africa. But
Right.
I'm not sure what's happening with that case today. I really don't know.
Right. Oh my word. Okay. So yeah, no, thank you for answering that question. That was a that was a Ray. You took us into very dark waters there, but it needs to be said. All of this needs to come to light, and that's why it's really, really important, guys, because we can just talk about it here, and it will still
Mm.
be pretty superficially. But please go and subscribe to the Afro-Humanist channel, because she's literally like she's part and parcel of this culture. If anyone can tell you experiential experience, or tell you what the ground reality is, and give you this anecdotal advice, and tell you how religion exemplifies these problems, it's her. So definitely please go and follow her channel. So I think that covers all the super chats for now. I'm just gonna Ray saying sorry. No, that's okay, Ray. It's really like these are really, really important things that I'm happy that they're gonna get out there and like reach a wider audience. So yeah, it's good. Don't be sorry at all. It's all good. So Esther, I'm just gonna
Okay,
try and
I can
go.
see Dean Kruger in the chat. Myself and himself were speaking with Leo Igwe.
Oh.
We talked about Leo Igwe and his representation of witches, and and also these apostasy laws.
Mm-hmm,
There's someone, there's the leader of the humanist group, Mubarak Bala. He has
mm-hmm.
been in jail. I'm not sure, 600 and how many odd days. He's been detained. There's no. He's been detained for his his religious beliefs,
He
and
was
they
arrested in
haven't.
2020. Yeah, sorry, I'm just let me just put this link here, guys. This is what um Esther is referring to. I'll also share my screen. Hold on.
Yes,
This is it. This is what you're talking about, right? This Mubarak Bala is a self-identified atheist from the Kano state in northeast Nigeria. He's been detained since April 28th, 2020. He had been forcibly drugged and committed to a psychiatric unit by his family members after telling them he was atheist. He was released shortly thereafter and became an outspoken advocate for Nigerian atheist rights and freedoms. I can't believe I didn't know of this. Thank you so much for bringing this case to light. Who was it?
he's
Dean and
he's
yourself.
he's
Thank you. Yeah?
he's not the only one. There's
I'm sure
another
he's not.
gentleman who's been sentenced to death.
Mm-hmm.
Aminu Yahya. Aminu, that's his name. Yeah, Aminu Yahya. He's been sentenced to death. Is this apostasy laws in it's Sharia, because Nigeria has there's parts of Nigeria that have the Sharia law.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. So, in because I don't know how it's divided into, but I know that mostly northern Nigeria, a lot of it's predominantly Muslim. So, how much of that would you say is actually governed by Sharia as opposed to just like, um, so, and obviously all of these like the Christian sects that you're talking about, and all these like this like this entire mass congregation of churches everywhere. Are there definitive lines between where these Sharia lines are operating? Like, could any of these Mubarak Balas or anyone have kind of moved into more Christian territories to then start speaking more freely? Or like, how is that divide in general in Nigeria between those Sharia governed areas and then the non-Sharia governed areas? And I'm
So
so sorry
not
that we are bringing out all the emotions under the sun
It's
from you
okay.
today. I'm
It's
very,
okay.
very
It's
sorry.
okay. not all of northern Nigeria is governed by Sharia.
Yeah.
Some the it's the people. The people
Mm.
come together and decide we want to be governed by Sharia.
Yeah.
And when the majority of people say we want to be governed by Sharia, what can you do? So states, there's sections of Nigeria that are governed. I'm not sure how many states now, but Kano State, where Mubarak was
Mubarak
living
is,
in,
yeah.
yes, that's definitely a Sharia state. Because the other gentleman, Yahaya Aminu, he too was sentenced to death in Kano. There was
Mhm.
a 10-year-old boy that was sentenced to 3 years for saying something about Muhammad. Is it Muhammad or Allah? I'm not sure which one. It was
It
Allah, I
was probably
think. He
Muhammad because the
Muhammad
blasphemy
or
cares
Allah,
more about
I'm
what,
not
yeah.
sure what this young boy did. A 10-year-old boy sentenced to 3 years in jail. So,
Oh my God. 10
as
years
much as
old.
a 10-year-old, but because of his age, a lot of people, were, they got on the case, and the young boy he's been moved out of Nigeria. The people from the US and the UK, they said we will. Some people were willing to do his sentence for this young 10-year-old, but I think
Yeah.
they saw some sense, and they let the young boy go, but he still wasn't safe. So some people came together and they granted him amnesty, him and his family, I think that's what it is. And they've moved him to an unknown country, unknown location. This He's no longer 10, obviously. He's now
Uh-huh.
maybe 13, 14, but he's no longer a resident in Nigeria, because even though his case was
Good.
taken out of court, he still stood the risk of being harmed by these
Mhm.
Allah Muhammad supporters who, for
Mhm.
some reason, they're out for blood. You cannot speak about my Allah. You cannot speak about my prophet. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So
Well, the reason is because if you blaspheme against the prophet, or if you change your religion, the fact is to change your religion in the
so
scripture, it says to kill you. But yeah.
Mubarak Mubarak is from Kaduna and was taken to Kano. Now that's the trouble with in Nigeria. So even if Mubarak had moved to a different part of Nigeria,
Mhm.
it's easy to trick you, to they would just come. Oh, we want to have a friendly
They would
conversation with
definitely
you.
find a
We
way.
want
Yeah,
to, yeah.
100.
And before you know it, that's it. You've been
Yeah.
taken to, so I don't,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah, it really, really reminds me of the ground realities of the situation in Pakistan. It's very much the same. Even if you are kind of given a pardon from the courts, which again is like it's
Mm,
that in itself is insanely hard to do. You're literally fighting against the sentiments of so many people in the country. Your lawyers are in trouble, but even if you do, you're not safe to stay in that country or in that state or whatever, because as you said, they will trick you, they will lie, they will
mm-hmm,
deceive you,
mm-hmm.
they will play games, but the mob will come for you, and they will come for you until you're finished in the way that they're comfortable with. So I do
And
want to
the
say
worst
that,
part,
yeah, yeah.
is it's your family members who will give you away. It's
Oh my
the
God, yeah.
members of your family who still, who are, they love their religion, they love will die for their beliefs. So
Yeah,
just
because
when you
in
think
Islam, you're
safe,
supposed to put your beliefs above your family. You're supposed to put Muhammad, and you're supposed to love him more than your own parents and your own siblings and your own children. He is, until you love him to that extent, you're not a true believer. So yeah, you're completely right. And Ultra, I just wanted to say thank you for your super chat. Imagine being arrested for merely changing your mind. Thank you. And Esther, I'm so glad that you've highlighted these Nigerian blasphemy cases, because I'm going to talk about them a lot more. I was not aware of these two cases, and the alleged witches as well that are being relocated via that organization. So all of these things are very much on my radar now, which is why conversations like this are great, because I wouldn't have potentially known about. There's only so much you can keep track of, but to get this insight is amazing. So thank you. And Haris Sultan is saying, Haris, thank you so much for your support. You're supporting me loads. Please do stop. But Haris is saying an 8-year-old was arrested in Pakistan for blasphemy earlier this year. Yeah. So Esther, it's exactly what you're saying. Like, the ground realities are mirrored, where Islam and blasphemy laws are in position. Those people who want to govern by Sharia, this is the kind of stuff that happens. We can't even consider putting an 8-year-old in prison, let alone arresting them for blasphemy, let alone giving them a sentence which inevitably leads to like death row, or fighting for their life, or leaving them in the hands of mobs. It's terrible.
And then they will turn around and tell you Islam is a peaceful religion. It's a religion of peace.
Yeah.
How
No,
peaceful
it's the
is
religion.
this?
Yeah.
When 8-year-olds are being arrested.
Thank you. Exactly. Just this one more super chat from Ray. Ray, thank you again for your support. Ray saying, I'll try and lift the mood after my downer of a question. It's okay. It was so necessary, but cool. I'm all for lightening the mood always. Afro-Humanist, can you tell us about some yummy African dishes? Nuria loves food talk. I do. He's right. He knows me well. I love me some food talk. Are you a foodie, Esther? Oh my God, I've actually had that. I've tried jollof rice.
Oh,
Yes, actually, I had a Nigerian friend in Dubai. She cooked me yeah, go on. I was like,
I cook a mean. I'm known for my jollof rice.
Are you? Esther, well, I hear you only live a couple of hours from me, so we're going to have to sort something out at some point.
Great.
Okay. I'll make you some biryani and you make me some jollof rice, so we'll do a little switch and we'll have a little party.
I've had biryani and I love biryani. I do.
Really? So I'm gonna be really cliche.
I tried
Like,
to
you
make
haven't
it.
had my mum's yet, so wait till you have my mum's.
I tried to make some myself, but the rice was soggy.
Oh, really? No, honestly, well, I'll show you a way to do it, which is it's like a cheat way to do it, but it comes out so good and it takes like half the time. But yeah, we definitely need to do this. And Ray, you succeeded. Thank you so much, mate. You fully lightened the mood. Like, Esther's smiling, I'm smiling. It's all good in the hood. Thank you. So okay. Esther, I'm gonna just go back to my list of questions for you just for a second, so we get back to a bit of a reference point. And so I wanted to ask you, we've had that much of your story, we've gone into like a lot of the ground issues that are happening in Africa, just because religion and culture are so coalesced. That it's dangerous either side of the coin, whether you look at it from a Christian lens or an Islamic lens. It's totally disrupting the fabric of society and hindering like normal progression. So what I wanted to ask you is just going back to, you're in that phase where you're a Christian, but you see that no critical thinking is encouraged. You see all of this happening. You see things that you're thinking, oh, that's not right. And, there is a certain level of potential manipulation happening here, or whatever it is you're thinking. What was the final straw about Christianity or the church you were following or theological aspects what was the final straw that broke the camel's back, where you were like, you know what, I don't want to call myself a Pentecostal Christian or a Christian or religious for that matter? And yeah, what was the final straw? I'm interested.
There's a couple. There wasn't one specific thing.
Okay, all the straws, lay them out for me. What were they?
One of the major ones was Jesus's ethnicity.
Okay.
In Africa.
Yes.
In Africa, the average African thinks that Jesus was white,
Mm-hmm.
blue eyes,
Blue-eyed,
blonde
blonde
hair.
hair. Yeah.
He was whiter than white. He was Caucasian. His
Mm.
skin was like, the people who brought Christianity to Africa made us believe that Jesus was white and he looked nothing like us, right? And then to find out that, so if this Jesus person did exist, if he did walk this earth, he was not he was not white. He would not have been the ethnicity these people made us believe.
Oh my God, yes, Esther, thank you. Please, you could not say this enough times. Preach, girl, preach. You are this
So
is something the world needs to hear. He was not white,
so
blue-eyed, and blonde haired.
he would have been okay. The church I was going to, the priest said he would have been brown,
Mm.
so maybe not completely dark because he was from the Middle East. Okay, so I said, why then did these people make us believe that he was white? Why that? And um the priest, it was a huge problem for me because the church I was going to, this Church of England, if you look
Mm.
at the stained glass windows, the beautiful stained glass windows, beautiful. They spend so much money, but
Yeah.
look at the images of the Jesus, the Mary, the baby Jesus, the Jesus on. They're all this image of a white, completely white Jesus, and the priest said to me that, he would admit, this is what he said to me. He said he would admit that the church lied to the world about
Yeah.
Jesus's ethnicity. And he said, let's not really, to be fair, nobody knows what Jesus looked like. Nobody
Mm.
knows. Nobody knows. So let's not focus on his ethnicity. Let us focus on what he came to do. So that was how, because I was,
Yeah.
I was going to church and I'm looking at all these images on the stained glass window. I'm thinking, and the priest has just admitted that this is a lie. This
Mm.
all here, what we're looking at is a lie. Someone mentioned in the chat that Jesus was black. I don't know what
Mm.
Jesus, but whatever image they sold to us in Africa,
Mm.
I've got videos from the 1960s. Oh no, sorry. When the slave when the what you call those people now who came to Africa to take slaves, the colonial masters, and
The
when they
colonials, yeah,
brought Christianity,
colonials.
they had pictures. They had pictures of Jesus. They're telling the people
Yes.
in Africa to get rid of their voodoo, their magic, and take on
Animism,
this
everything. Yeah.
this this savior Jesus. He will save you. He's the solution to your problems. And he's a white dude
Mm.
on these pictures, right? So I've got some old videos showing us what Jesus, there are cultures in Africa now that are starting to wake up. I've got a video on my channel where some Africans in this small community, they set fire, right? And they put in the fire pictures of this white Jesus and pictures of the Bible. They're burning these things because this is all a lie. So anyway,
Mm.
the priest said, let's think about what Jesus came to do. Let's not focus too much on his race and his ethnicity, which is fine by me. And he
I
said
mean,
to
it's a
me
cop out,
that,
but it's fine. Okay.
yeah, he said that people tend to imagine Christ in their own ethnicity. So the white
Right.
people see Jesus as white.
Mhm.
Black people would see Jesus as black. If you're from the
Yeah.
Middle East, you'll see Jesus as, if you're Indian, you see, okay, which is fine by me. Okay, so he said, go and think about what Jesus came to do. That was my assignment, to go and think of. I said, so what on earth did Jesus come? What was Jesus's mission here on earth? And I started asking the question: did Jesus really need to die? Did he? If God is so big and so powerful and so he is omniscient, he is benevolent, he's all these good things. Now, two people, Adam and Eve, ate this fruit, right? And because
Mm.
these two people ate this fruit, humanity is condemned. Humanity can never be right with God. We are a condemned, species because two
Mm.
people ate an apple, right?
Mm.
And what is the grand master plan that God decides He wants to? He decides, I could send my son, who is also me, to go and die for the sins of these people in order to make humanity and myself at peace with one another. I was thinking, what kind of crap?
Mhm.
What kind of crap?
Also, Esther,
This
if he is God like incarnate, oh sorry about the sirens are crazy.
It's okay.
If
It's okay.
Jesus is God incarnate, then if he's immortal in a sense, how is his death a sacrifice? I always wondered that.
He
But
only went for a weekend. He was only gone for a weekend. So
yeah.
he
Oh
only
my
went on a
goodness.
Friday and came back on a Sunday and Monday, and he
Sunday,
you know
yeah.
he was back. So
Jesus went on a bender.
was
um,
and to think the Bible says it, that it was God's plan to
yeah.
have his child. Can you, what father kills their own child
Yes.
to
Touche.
make themselves happy? What father
Mhm.
does that?
Yeah.
And
Same thing
for
with like
Christians to
Abraham's
come,
story, sacrificing
oh
his son
goodness, that's
for
another one.
hearing voices and going to do that. Like, what kind of loony bin father would go and nearly slaughter his son like that and then be like, oh, actually, no, God changed his mind at the last minute? The fact that you're hearing voices and you're thinking this is a deity telling you to sacrifice your son, your flesh and blood that you're willing to do. This is beyond me. But so Esther, this was one of your straws, right? This is one of the last straws that led you out. But I just want to ask, because I've seen a lot of black people who have this same issue, they turn usually to black Jesus, and you see the photographs of Jesus changing, you see the tone of his skin color change, and they really think that there is a Jesus for them, but he's the black Jesus. So Fred here he made a really good point, because if you are, in my eyes, like if you are a believing Christian, like when I was a believing Muslim, I had these things in my head where I was like, God, it's so annoying that it's all in Arabic because I'm not natively Arab. Like if I was, life would be so much easier. But because I just had, like, I believed it so much, I didn't really care about the fact that Muhammad was from the Quraysh tribe and I wasn't. But I was just like, I did think, like, it did plant those seeds, because I was like, how is this universal? Why is this God so fixated on Arabic from this particular Qurayshi region and dialect? But Fred asked a good question, in the sense that if you are a Christian, if you believe in a deity, then his ethnic background is irrelevant, is it not? Or was it so much so kind of like irking you and being like, well, he's not fully a representation of like this land or where we come from or what we look like? It is just an imported colonial like construct. Was that playing on your mind? Or like, just
For
to answer
me,
this, because I think this is a good point.
it was the lies. For
But
me,
yeah,
it was
yeah.
the
Okay.
lies. How you would
Okay. So when
come
that pastor
to,
admitted that he was lying,
not him,
especially
but the church. He said
the
the
church,
church
yeah,
lied
yeah,
to the
yeah.
world.
That's a big one.
Those were
Yeah.
his words. The church lied to the world about Jesus's ethnicity.
He must
So
regret saying that to you. That is
so you
um
you people recognize that this is a lie. You
Yeah.
deliberately deceive the African people by showing them this picture. You do not know what he looks like. But for some reason, you come up with this image, and that's where oppression, racism comes through. The black person now looks at this white dude and says, "He's my God," right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not racist by any means. Not I'm not
Mm,
racist, none at all.
mm,
But why lie to people? Why not just tell them we don't know what he looks like? We haven't, and that's where Islam Islam don't do images of Allah, and they don't have images. But where did you people come up with this image of your Jesus from? And making Jesus black for me doesn't because nobody knows what the dude looked like if he really did
mm,
exist. So
mhm,
I can't. And that's one of the things. If Jesus was, he would have made himself known. He would have, if he was so big and strong and powerful and
mm.
such a good, look at the confusion. You sit there and let these people deceive a whole race, a whole community of people. You just let it happen. Fold your hands and just pretend that you're not there.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And obviously, like that's where all of the kind of like revisionism and stuff come into history because they talk about like the Orientalist perspective and how everything was given like we're given the entire view of the world from that really European lens. In
Mm.
terms of everything, in terms of like how most of history is written, and in terms of the way the way that these characters are portrayed. So people are trying to like portray everything now from a much more different perspective where they're like, actually, let's just take out all of the Eurocentric aspects that were actually superimposed onto these things. But again, when you're talking about something like Christianity, what the pastor, was it the pastor or the priest, admitted
Pre.
was such that was honesty, that's such powerful ammunition. And I feel like he must regret saying that to you every day, because imagine if he also knows that, willingly knows and still believes everything that comes after what you know to be a lie. But as Fred was saying, I think obviously then people rationalize it and kind of get rid of we would consider cognitive dissonance by thinking this is just an avatar. When he says to you, let's think about what he represents, he's trying to switch the focus onto like the message and the way you're meant to like live life, right?
You know when George Floyd died and there was that whole Black Lives Matter thing,
Yeah.
it started to highlight racism in the church.
Hmm.
So in the UK here,
Yeah.
at the time I was still in and out. At this time I started questioning my faith, and the black people started saying there is racism in this church. And so the priest had to have meetings, right, to try and, because then the whole thing started to highlight the racism that was occurring in church, you know. So I think it's this whole thing about race picking one over the other, right? And
Mm.
the Archbishop of Canterbury, he came out.
Yeah.
There's an article. There's an article. The Archbishop of Canterbury, he has identified that the representation of Jesus Christ to the world is not a true representation. He verbalized it. He said it. But guess what happened
Yeah.
when he came up with this?
What happened?
He was shut down. The people
Yeah.
didn't want to hear it. They were calling for his job. The and
Yeah.
it was the people, because when the Archbishop of Canterbury is saying, look, the Jesus we thought we knew is not, he's not, what he's saying in essence is the whole Christianity the package, what we've put together, what
Mm-hmm.
you people think is Christian, is actually false. People have been lied to. So if he starts opening this can of worms, listen, a lot of things will have to, Christianity will, so people are not ready for that. And so he was shut down. They were not ready for that conversation. The Archbishop of the one who is in charge of the Church of England is coming to say that Jesus that we gave to you people, you is a wrong Jesus.
Yeah.
They're not ready. They're
Yeah.
not ready for that conversation.
No, they're definitely not ready for that. But whether they're ready for it or not, the rest of the public is going to be facing that, because you're going to come out with all of this on your channel, right? You're tackling these topics, which obviously they're not, people aren't comfortable. Like you just mentioned, like the case of the Church of England and the Archbishop of Canterbury. Even in England, like people aren't willing to, as well, Christianity is still a bit more, you have like more room to play with, but especially
Mm-hmm.
for Islam and stuff, that the narrative that nobody wants to mess with the status quo as it is. So whether you're doing that, or atheists in general, or humanists, or whoever they are doing that, and we're putting pressure on the church and people to actually be like, no, it's time for the truth to come out as clear as day. Like there is no more hiding behind veils and this and that and curtailing the truth, because it is the era of transparency, and it will come flooding out. And that's
It
why
will.
channels like your, yeah, it most definitely will. So that was one of the issues. What were a couple of the other things that you just thought, you know what, bun this, I'm done?
Stories in the Bible. Mm-mm.
Okay, speaking of, tell
Stories in
me
the
please.
Bible. Oh gosh. I don't know. For some reason, when I was a Christian, when I was still a believer, I was still a theist, most of the stories made sense to me.
Hmm.
When I started questioning, when I started asking the questions and, trying to make sense of my religion, for some reason, it felt like a veil was lifted, right? And so
Yeah.
when I read the Bible, I I was now reading the Bible and putting myself in the scenes, putting myself in the scenarios and asking, was this person treated fairly? In the Old Testament, the God of the Old Testament was such a vile character.
Yes.
You only needed to just say something what he's not happy with, and that's it. You're struck dead.
Yeah.
There was no there was a young boy in the Old Testament. He was one of the people carrying the Ark of Covenant, right? So the
Hmm.
Ark of Covenant, there are rules, right?
Hmm.
Now, the Ark of Covenant was the one that carried the presence of God in the Old
Yeah.
Testament. And there are rules that guard this ark or this thing. And this young boy, the Ark of Covenant was about to drop, and he goes to grab to stop it from dropping to the floor. He cared so much about his God. He didn't want his God to fall to the floor. And guess what
Hmm.
God did to him?
What did God
Guess
do
what
to
God
him?
did to him? God killed him. It's in the
Yeah,
Bible.
and this is the
The
Old
story
Testament,
of
right?
is the Old Testament. The story of
Yeah.
the big one for me. This was no, there are two stories in particular. Two that
Yeah.
did it for me. I had said, no way, I cannot identify with Christianity. No way. The first one
Okay.
is the story of the flood story.
Yeah. Noah's Ark.
I re I realized that one child, one baby, one infant, not one, made it into the ark.
Yeah.
8 adults did.
Hmm.
Noah was 600 years old.
Yeah.
So I was asking the question, are you telling me that we would rather keep this 600-year-old and kill all the babies and
Yeah.
kill all the infants? But then Christianity would have us believe that children are innocent. What have children done to, you know, not one? You're telling me that your God could not
Mm.
save one baby, could not save one. So we just would kill all the babies.
Yeah.
The other story is the story of Job.
Yeah.
The devil, Satan, was, in my opinion, Satan was the good guy in that story.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
Satan was, he was minding his business. He was
Yeah.
doing his thing, what he usually does. He was walking to and fro the earth. And
Yeah.
God in his wisdom
Infinite
comes
wisdom.
along,
Yes. Yeah.
comes along and decides, oh, um, hmm, devil, come over here. Have you seen my son Job? He whatever you do to him, he would never bow to you. You never would, And the devil says, yes, you are right, God, because you have put a hedge around him and his family. That's why he is protected. And God
Mm.
says, take that hedge off him, right? Yeah,
Mm.
take the hedge off him. And God says, you can do anything to him. Do anything you like, Satan, but do not take his life. But guess what? God did not accord that same respect to Job's children. Job
Yeah.
lost 10 children in one day
Yeah.
because God was playing games. God was, in his infinite wisdom, was trying to, I don't know what he was thinking, this God. He wanted to show off
Mm-hmm.
what Job can do, and decides that
Yeah.
he lets Job's 10 children be killed in one day. I spoke
Yeah.
to a Christian about this, and guess what the Christian said to me? The Christian
No,
said,
what did
they
he
said,
say?
they said, oh, but Job got back many children afterwards. He replaced everything.
Mm.
So I asked this Christian, I said, have you ever lost a loved one? Have you ever lost
Are
a
they
child?
replaceable? Mm-hmm.
Have you ever lost a child? If you have never lost a child, I said, imagine losing 10 children. Now, the question is, Job got children back. Did he get those 10 back? The answer is
Nope.
no. I don't care
Will
what
he
Job
ever
got
get those
back in
10
the end.
back? Nope. Yeah.
Never.
Never.
How is this? How is this? How, this demonstrates how cruel and evil your God is.
Mhm. Yeah.
Why? What was
100%.
God trying to prove? Ugh.
Yeah. Totally. Well, and we have the exact same story in the Quran. You know, the Allah in the Quran is a lot more similar to Old Testament, like the God in that. He's got like the same level of aggression kind of comes
Oh,
back.
listen. There's a comment here, and this
Yeah.
this this is one of the things that really gets to me.
Yeah.
Watchman
Tell me,
for
I can
today
highlight it as well.
reloaded.
Yeah.
Watchman for today reloaded says yes. God put the
Oh.
hedge around Job. Where are Job's children now? With God in the bosom of Abraham. Look at this. Look
Oh
at
my
this.
word. So, yeah, he thinks it's absolutely okay because they've gone to God, the children. They're in heaven right now, residing with God.
So, this right here is the insensitivity of the average Christian. that thinks it is okay for us to kill. Let's kill them. Why? Because they're in the bosom of the Lord. You know, I lost my
Yeah.
mom last year.
Yeah.
I still grieve
Yeah.
for my mom till today. And somebody will sit in the chat and type this, say, his 10 children are in the bosom of Abraham. How
Mm.
insensitive can you be?
It's true. How insensitive can you be? And how you'd go to ridiculous lengths to justify complete injustice because of blind faith. It's disgusting, and I hope you never experience the pain of losing a loved one or a child. Inevitably you will, we all will.
Mm,
But if that's your way of telling people that that's why it's okay, that's a very, very, very poor response to one of like the greatest afflictions we have as humans, where we feel and love and connect, and these people are not replaceable. And just saying that they've gone to heaven or they're in a better place or they're with God, I mean, it might put a little plaster on it for you, but that is extremely insensitive to tell people who are trying to say none of this exists. That person was
mm-mm,
taken away,
mm-mm,
is gone, is never coming back, and that is a fact. That's reality. And to deal with reality and throw away those 12, those 10 children and say that's okay, he was given, what's the next step? To say he was given far better children than those previous ones? It doesn't work like that. It's just, it's not a good look. So Esther, I'm sorry about that, and thank you for. So I kind of understand now a couple of like the various things that were irking you enough to be like, I have a problem with this, I have a problem with this, I have a problem with this. So I kind of see how you're literally on your way out. The exit door is nearby, and you're pretty much there. So what I want to ask you is, obviously, you inevitably did realize that this is all bullshit, and I'm not going to stand for this anymore. So what has the process been like leaving your faith behind for you? And if you're willing to go into it, what was the reaction from your friends and your loved ones when you said, that's it, I'm done. I don't want to
mm.
affiliate with a church. I don't want to call myself a Christian. I'm done with it all.
So, when I came to the realization that I I am an atheist, um, I still carried on going to church, but it just didn't feel
Oh,
right. It didn't
okay.
feel right
Yeah.
because I was making my way to becoming a priest in the Church of England.
Yeah.
At first, I was thinking, oh, I could, I could just carry on being an atheist, and then just go along. But I'm not one for pretense.
Hmm.
I'm not one for accept me for who I am.
Nice.
And I came to the point. What used to bother me were those images on the stained glass windows, just seeing Jesus up there, and just remembering what the priest said, that that's a lie. What you're seeing up there and all the glass, that's all a lie. But let's just go along. I'm not happy to go along with that.
Yeah. I don't want to play
So
make believe with you. Yeah.
no, no, and I
No,
don't
I want to.
believe this stuff no more. I don't believe any of this stuff anymore. So anyway,
Yeah.
I wrote an official letter to the church,
Right.
and just explaining to them that I've lost my faith. Well, I didn't lose my faith.
Hmm.
I just dropped I no longer believe what they believe. And
Hmm.
they were really good, the church. They said, we we don't want to lose you. You can always come back. I don't think they understand what it feels like. I think they
Mm.
think it's just a phase that oh, these things happen. We've had people who've left the church and then come back after a while. They think it's just, oh, you're going to go and then you're going to come back. There's no coming back. Once you
Hmm.
realize that it's all just bullshit, there's no going back. How do you
Oh yeah, I
go back
totally agree. I totally
when
agree. You can't. You
yeah,
can't. They actually
how
say neurologically, your brain, once you've put all of that aside and you've started to like, think and think more logically and critically, your brain is naturally already like rewired in a way where you're not gonna accept that. You're not gonna go back. But just for I just want to chime in for a second. Was you writing the letter? Just you doing it like off your own volition and just or is that part of the
yes.
process? Do you have to write him a letter?
No, I didn't have to,
Okay.
but I felt like
Okay.
that was the way I chose to. And he responded, Naraya. He responded.
Mhm.
They sent me a 4-page response, and believe it or not, it's
Oh,
been nearly 2 years, and I still haven't read that letter.
really?
No,
Oh, what? So was that because you just were like, I'm so done. I don't
I
even
was done.
care for what the response
I
is
was
to try and
done.
lure me back? Yeah.
I
Okay.
I
Okay.
saw I saw parts of it. I saw parts of it
Mhm.
was saying he wishes we had had the conversation. Maybe he would have been able to take me because I highlighted what my issues were
Mm.
with the Christian
Oh, that
faith
must
and
have been a long list.
why I could not identify with Christianity anymore. So just
Yeah.
the section, I saw the section where it says, "I wish we had discussed," and I thought, no, I'm not prepared to discuss nothing. It's done. And
I
so
wonder if he
I
addresses all your points of concern in that letter, like as a rebuttal to everything that you were to
he
say, like
probably
these
did.
are like,
He probably did, but
mm.
I haven't read it yet. At some point I
Somebody
will
says
read
on
it.
your channel, Esther, oh, sorry, not that. Somebody says on your channel, you should do a live stream reading the letter. That would
Reading the
be
letter.
so
I think
cool.
so.
Yeah,
I think
that's a really cool
when I hit
idea.
1,000 subscribers, I think that's what I'll do.
Guys and girls, we've got to do this tonight. We've got to get Esther up to 1,000, and we want her to be reading the letter by what day is it? Wednesday, Friday night. Everyone, stop what you're doing. We're going to hear what this letter says. We're going to hear all the arguments for sticking with Christianity. Oh, that's a really good idea. Thank you, Beej, for sharing that. Um, so yeah, go on,
Also
go ahead.
I now I felt like I could no longer pretend. I could no longer um lie to I felt like I had to say something. I had to. So guess what I did? I went on
What
my
did you
Facebook.
do, Esther?
I went on my
And you went,
Facebook. I went on
yeah,
my Instagram, and
yeah.
I just made it public. I no longer believe in the Christian faith. I am now an atheist. I put it out there. My family, my friends, everyone, just put it out there.
Oh my goodness. I feel like congratulating you now, even though it's already happened. I'm like, hey, where's the party at? That is
uh,
amazing.
but
So, wow,
but but
very
but
brave, very,
but
very brave of
people,
you, Esther.
oh, I started getting people. Oh gosh, you no longer believe in God. You're saying you do not
Hmm.
believe in God? I said, well, I'm not saying that, but just the Christian God. No, no, thank you. Not for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
As this gentleman came along, he says, "Oh, I'm worried. I'm worried about you." I said, "Well, why are you worried?" He said, "I'm worried about your eternal damnation."
Oh, here we
I
go.
said,
Yeah,
"My eternal damnation? What do you mean?" He said, "You're going to hell.
yeah.
Now you no longer be." I said to him, I said, "Congratulations, you're also going to hell." He says, "What do you mean?" I
Yeah.
said, I said, "You may not be going to the Christian hell,
Hmm.
but you are going to
You're
the
going
hell
to
of the
somebody
religious you."
else's.
yeah, exactly. The other religions
Mhm.
that have this version of hell, because you do not believe in their religion, I said, it's automatic. You're going,
Mhm.
you know, he looked at me and he just for 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 a sec he couldn't speak. I said, yeah, congratulations. We're all going to hell. I said,
Yeah.
when it's all over, I think all the different hells will just, okay, who do we want here, because we're all good. Which
Yeah,
hell is
yeah.
it? Which one?
No, touche. Good. I'm so glad you
Mhm.
put that to him as it is. So that was one of the kind of like bits of backlash you got. What about like the people closest to you? Were they like, okay, Esther, you know what? To each their own. You live your life. It's okay. Just don't kind of throw your atheism in our face. Is
Mm.
that what was it like? And
Oh,
do they miss
I
you
was
at
throwing it.
church? Or
Yes,
were
yes,
you?
yes,
Oh,
yes. I
look
was
at you
throwing it.
go. Okay.
I was throwing it in their faces. I was, going up there. But now I've stopped because I went through this phase of being really angry. I was an angry atheist, and that's when I started the YouTube channel. But then I
Hmm.
realized that the process of becoming an atheist was a personal journey for me, and
Yeah.
people some people just wouldn't get it. They just
Yeah.
wouldn't get it. They cannot relate. They cannot. Some people need God. I've had somebody tell me that if they didn't have God, they would be out there. They might be a murderer. They might be raping people. They might be. And I said, look, if having a God stops you from doing those things, hold
Hmm.
on to your God belief. You need God
Yes.
because we don't
Touche.
want you out here raping and murdering
Raping,
people. No,
pillaging, and murdering. Yes.
we
Thank
don't want
you.
that. But
Hmm.
I found that family members, it's been very isolating. Uh,
Hmm.
People don't know how to. Family member says, now I don't know how to have a conversation with you anymore. I says, why
Just
not?
because you don't. Yeah. You can talk about anything else under the sun, literally. And like that's what you go to, like they say as a joke to like maintain good relationships with people. Don't bring up
Mm,
politics and don't bring up religion. Like, let's just talk
religion.
about anything else because that will cause a divide. So if you don't talk about it and you just agree to have different views, you can easily coexist. I mean, I'm doing that with my entire like like my or everybody close to me in my close circle who are still fully believing Muslims. It's just or you agree to like be a bit lighthearted about it. If I crack a joke or if they want to pray, I'm not gonna jump down their throat, and if I make a joke, they're not going to jump down my throat. It's kind of like a bit of give
Mm-hmm.
and take, and you reach this natural equilibrium where everyone's comfortable. But I'm really sad to hear that it's been an isolating experience in the
It
sense that they
has. It
genuinely don't know
has.
what to talk about.
Yeah, because the church was a huge community for me. Because
Yeah.
don't forget, I'm an immigrant to the United Kingdom. Don't have
Yeah.
many family, friends, and you know, so church was a huge community for me. Um, so
Yeah, no
not going
doubt.
to church and not having that, it was a huge loss.
Yeah.
um to the extent, I mean, I had it, at a point, I was very, just went through a really bad phase of being depressed and just feeling so alone, and how come nobody understands this? How come being an atheist should not be a prison sentence? So yeah,
Yeah.
the YouTube channel has helped to just meet other people on YouTube who think like I think, and who, I come on your channel and say, come on now, these people are speaking my language. These people, they get it. But
Mm.
these are internet people, but it's still something because the people around me don't get it. But the good thing, Naraya, the good thing is I have two children.
Mm-hmm.
My first son, he's 19.
Mm-hmm.
When I was still a believing Christian, we
Yeah.
take the kids to church. My older son just didn't get it. He did not get the idea of church. He did not get the idea of religion. We take him to church and he could not understand. How do people believe the contents of this book?
Wow. Wow.
He stopped going to church. The moment he turned 16, he stopped going because he couldn't. He's been an atheist for the
Oh
longest.
my God. Yes.
So
Wow. That's
when when
incredible.
when when I became an atheist and told my children, both of them, I'm now an
Yeah.
atheist. My son said, yes. He said, Mom, do you understand now how I used to feel when I would come to church and would listen to you people? He said they're reading stories in the Bible that don't make sense. And he'll see all
Mm.
the adults are nodding their head agreeing to rubbish.
Yeah.
He said, Mom, do you
Yeah.
understand it now? I said, I get it now. I do. My
Em-
younger child, my younger child, he's 12.
mm.
When we had the conversation, in fact, my younger child was 9 years old when he came to me and said, Mom, I don't want to be a Christian anymore. I said, why? You don't want to be a Christian? No, 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 no. You like Christmas, right? He said, yes. I said, you do realize that Christmas is because of Christ. Christ
Yeah.
Mass. Because of Christ, we have Christmas. You have to be a Christian. He said, um, he was told about the Jesus story, and Jesus died, and there was plenty blood, and he doesn't like blood. So he doesn't want to be a Christian because there was
Yeah.
too much blood.
Mm.
This was a
Fair
conversation we
enough.
had 3 years ago. 3 years ago, we
Yeah.
had this conversation. But when you think about it, a 9-year-old child is talking about this is this is supposed to be a good thing. And a 9-year-old is saying, I can't identify with this barbaric death.
Mm-hmm.
Why would anybody see the death of Jesus Christ as a good thing? If truly Jesus Christ was killed in that manner, Jesus' father God needs to be in prison for that death.
Yeah.
You don't take a life like that. And somehow Christians, the Christians will quote the scripture, John 3:16. For God so
Mm.
loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. The question is, how did God give his son? He gave his son by killing his son for you.
Mm. Through death. Yeah.
And you worship that God that kills his own son.
Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah. I think it was also really interesting when you touched on you just gave a moment of pause to the story of Jesus's inception. And you just thought about it from Mary's perspective for a second as well. And I think you touched on that very briefly in our podcast, but that gave me pause for thought. Obviously, because I
Mm,
kind of just came at it from an angle where this kind of virgin birth story has been told throughout like different civilizations throughout the globe, even pre-Christianity. But when you kind of spun it from that angle, I was just like, yeah, if I had to, you know, like live and breathe and believe this, at some level, those thoughts cross your mind. And in this day and age, you can't condone that as a beautiful thing or a miraculous
have you
event.
have you got any kids, Mariah?
I don't, no.
Okay. I had my first child when I was 23.
Uh-huh.
Um, I've gone online just doing research. How old
Yeah.
was Mary? Mary, the mother of Jesus. Some people believe she was 12 years old. That's the youngest I've seen. Some say she
Yeah.
was 13. Some say she was 14. What I went through as a 23-year-old, and in this day when we have modern, technology, we've got hospitals and we've got the doctors who can imagine a 12-year-old violated by this ghost. This ghost comes along and violates this 12-year-old's body, inserts or inseminates, whatever, just fixes their semen into this 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And this God expects this baby, because what does a 12-year-old know? This baby is supposed to birth this child. Not only was she to birth, when we give birth, the hospital is nice, you have staff, this 12-year-old, 13-year-old has to give birth in a stable. What kind of God does that?
Yeah. Imagine what, like on a
What
pile
kind
of
of God?
hay. Yeah.
What kind of God does? Oh, the Jesus
Mm.
story does not work for me. The Jesus story, I don't see no good in that. How, Jesus loves you. No, thank you. The Jesus story from the beginning to the end, just it's barbaric. It's cruel. It's evil. That a God. This is the part that gets me. This God could save the entire world if he chooses to. All he has to do, because he's that big and powerful, he could just a flick of the finger, just that, and the whole world is saved. He has the power to, but chooses to kill his own child in that manner, chooses to violate a
Mm.
12-year-old virgin. No, not for me. It doesn't work, Mariah, unfortunately. The Jesus story does not work for me.
Fortunately, I would say, fortunately, it doesn't work. Otherwise, you and I would not be sitting here, and you might have, God knows what you would have progressed to now, going for the ministry, and you would be saying you would be telling a whole different story at the
Oh,
moment.
oh, by the way, by the
You
way,
would, mm,
someone's comment, someone said,
yeah.
Jesus Christ lives. I seen a comment
Yeah,
here
yeah.
that said Jesus
I was
Christ
gonna
lives.
ask, I was gonna flag this for you. I was like, Esther, any comments?
Let me just inform that person that
Hmm.
his name was not even Jesus. The name Jesus did not exist. That person you call Jesus was not even his name. So apparently his name was Yeshua, so the
Yeshua,
Jesus
yeah.
is an adopted name. So your Jesus
Mm.
Christ, unfortunately, made up. It's all made up bullshit. When you say
And
Jesus
Esther,
lives, his name was not Jesus,
I,
unfortunately.
yeah, no, it was Yeshua in the Hebrew Bible as
A
well. That's
12
how,
year old. Okay, someone is this comment talking about Mary giving
yeah.
consent. How can a 13-year-old give consent?
But Esther, it was
Your
God's
God
will.
should know
God
better.
just,
No. Your God should know better. They tell
yeah.
you, oh, in those days, life was different then.
Mm,
The people were the way they lived their life then, they didn't know, we're modern. But hang on, you're the same ones who come and tell us that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He changes not.
mm-hmm.
If he doesn't
Yeah.
change, he should have known better.
Yeah.
God he's the main factor in all these times. I blame your God. The Christian God should be in jail.
Yeah. Well, by that
Sorry.
standard, so should Allah. By that standard, so should the Islamic one and the Jewish one. But I just also, so Watchman again, I know we're entertaining a lot of his comments, but it seems like this conversation is most pertinent to somebody like Watchman for today. Is saying Jesus is the English for Yeshua. It's bullshit to say that we can't call him Jesus.
But his name wasn't Jesus anyway.
Yeah, but again, everything's been okay. It's all been anglicized and kind of, adopted. So yeah, we're not saying you can't call him Jesus. You could most definitely call him Jesus. The Afro-Humanist was just pointing out that the origins of like the name was far different from the Jesus that we say, like Jesus Christ today.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
Shane Wilson is saying, good guest. Thank you so much. I would say, yeah, great guest, Afro-Humanist. You have literally given us so much kind of, I would just say like an in-depth view into Christianity, well, especially from a Nigerian perspective, but also
Mm.
like in general, because your life spans these two vastly different places, so the insights that you bring along with you are just very nuanced and different from normal conversations I'd be having. So thank you. My second last question to you before we end this up, because I have taken an hour more of your time than I promised. I'm sure you're eager to go as well. I know you're a busy woman. You're a mother to two wonderful kids. You're also training to be a counselor. You're literally smashing life. I have so much respect for you. So my second last question to you would be, how did you come to align yourself with the term Afro-Humanist? And by that, like, just as a follow-up, what are your thoughts on the word atheist? And then we'll give I'll ask you one final question and we'll do the closing remarks.
So I don't believe in any deities. None at all. Don't believe in
Yeah.
any the spiritual, anything that I can't see, can't feel, can't touch. Just it's not it's for me it's uh not for me. So
Yeah.
hence why I call myself an atheist. But most of the most of the people I relate with, most of the African communities, the word
Mm-hmm.
atheist is a bit too much for them. They I really didn't even know what an atheist was until I started doing research. Then, oh, that's what
Yeah.
an atheist means. So when you say atheist, they think devil worship. They think,
Yeah.
oh, you're
Satan
going
worshipper. Yeah.
every yeah, while they're in church, you're out there going to worship the
Being
devil,
part of a
going to
satanic
worship.
cult. Yeah. Killing babies and draining blood and
Exactly.
God, occultism, God knows what. Yeah.
So when I came across the term a humanist, that's me. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
humanist, right? So
Hell
I
yes.
decided I started off as the African humanist, but I changed it to the Afro-humanist because I realized when I say African, um, it's like I don't want to limit myself to just the African, although that's my passion. That's what
Mm-hmm.
most of my videos come from the African version of church and how just absurd the things that come out from churches in Africa. Just oh, so I'm the Afro-humanist because I just want to. I'm a humanist. I'm an atheist,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got an afro when I haven't got extensions. So that's
I saw your
why I
afro in the picture you sent me. It's a beautiful afro. I need you to be rocking that as well. I want to see it when I come to have jollof.
Hey, jollof rice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have a proper get together. So yeah, I totally agree because I mean, honestly, when you've been talking to me today, I just every time you talk about a point, which obviously the underlying factor is like the inherent indoctrination and conservatism and superstitions and blind belief held by a society that also, don't have access to like because of everything they believe in, they don't position themselves to put like school and education and thinking critically and traveling the world and meeting people at the
Critical
forefront.
thinking.
Yeah. And so I had the same exact problem. If I come across, or if I try and approach my like fellow people in my inner circle who are Muslims as an atheist, I'm going to get a lot of like, they're going to switch off before I've even opened my mouth. Whereas if I come at it from a humanist perspective, it's like, oh, hold on a minute, you're going to need to listen to me, because what I'm talking about is a purely human problem, as opposed to a problem on that rests on whether you believe in a deity or not. Do you know what I mean? So again, I think I'm very much in alignment with you in that it's almost like a soft touch approach to be like, this is it's the most potentially Socratic way where we're able to have a back and forth discussion without you lumping me in with like rapists and occultists and Satanists from the get-go, if that makes sense. So I can very much like empathize with why you would choose that. And also for me, like being an atheist is that's like the ground foundations. But again, a belief in God or not believing is like one part of it. But a lot of what we've talked about today as well comes down to so many problems which they rest on the premise of not believing in God, because that just allows you to progress. But all of these issues beforehand, in order to engage with these people at that level, you need to come at them from a position where they're willing to hear you out, because no progress is made without dialogue,
True.
dialogue from both sides. So I think even purely in terms of the perspective of dialogue, it's a good position to take when the backlash you're about to deal with is so like conservative and like hyped up with the belief in a God. So I totally get that. So my last question to you, because I know you're probably going to want to head to bed as well now. It's late here in England.
Oh, yes.
But speaking of, and we were briefly talking about this backstage, because this is what we do in England. Yes, the stereotypes are real. It's Christmas time, and all we talk about is like the weather and food and fire and what you're doing for Christmas. And Esther was actually asking me backstage if I celebrate. So what I wanted to ask you, Esther, is now that you're no longer a Christian, Christmas is what, 23 days away from us. Everything, like the whole Christmas spirit is in the air. We've got the trees up, we've got the lights everywhere, we've got all the food ads bombarding us 24/7. So are you going to be celebrating Christmas? What are your thoughts on Christmas? Do your boys like Christmas? What's happening in Esther's household on Christmas this year?
Oh, my 12-year-old, he loves Christmas, because that's the time he gets his he loves games, and so he's got a new. It's expensive. We've gone out this time around to, and he knows there's no. Now he knows there's no Santa. He said to me, "Mom, I know you are Santa. I know Santa does not exist." So he knows that Mom is Santa. So Christmas, I don't. As far as Christmas is concerned in my household, it's nothing to do with Christ.
Yeah.
We don't celebrate Christ. We don't. Um, um, the whole Christian narrative doesn't work in my household at all. It's just me and my two boys, and we might spend. I think because this Omicron thing is all over the place. The plan was to spend time with family, but the way it's going, I think we might just spend it just at home, three of us. And then in the new year, we'll spend time with family. Otherwise, it's nothing to do with Christ.
Not at all. And as we discussed, remember, Esther, on the podcast as well, we were totally saying that like it's almost like common knowledge now that this is just almost like it's like a winter celebration across the scale. It was originally the celebration for the winter solstice. It really has nothing to do with Christ was not born on this day. It was initially a pagan tradition that's just been adopted. by Christianity, and a lot of the symbols, like even the tree in itself, the wreaths, all of the symbolism of bringing greenery into your house, all of that is predicated on like what the pagans used to do to mark like the winter coming and wanting to keep their houses like evergreen, in the hope of like the seasons changing. It's all part and parcel of that. This is a whole, Christmas has metamorphosized throughout the ages and become what it is today in this form as you and I see it in England now. It's almost, we'd say, like there's no semblance of Christianity really left in it, unless you've got really young kids at school and they're taking part in the nativity and stuff, you know, when they're acting out like Jesus's birth and all that. But other than that, for the most part, it can reasonably be seen as like a pretty secular reason to celebrate getting together with your family, eating good food. Do you know what I mean? Having a laugh, just having a good time. And I think that's kind of what you were saying in that podcast. And you also were mentioning New Year.
Yes, yeah, it's a time to prepare for the new year. And also, we haven't got to have, we don't have to wake up so early getting boys ready for school. And, it's a time for everybody to just relax, just have a little chill time. Yeah. There were two comments in the chat. One of them was talking about, prophecies in the Bible, that people will fall away from the faith, the spirits. And what was the comment? Number one, I don't believe in spirits. I don't believe in these things that people imagine exist. Another comment, someone was saying that about Mary giving consent. Mary was asked, and she said, be it unto me according to your word, whatever Mary said.
Is this Mary? There is no H. She was no, I don't think this is the one is this the one you're talking about?
No, it's not that one. It's up and don't worry about it. Don't worry.
Okay, all right. I'm just
don't worry about it. It's just even if Mary did give consent. Let's assume Mary gave
here
consent.
it is. Yeah.
Yes. Let's assume Mary gave this consent. The fact that this father God, will kill his child in that manner to save you makes me ask the question, what kind of person are you? How can I go to sleep at night knowing that someone was killed for my sake? If somebody was killed the way Jesus was killed in those times, right? And we knew that it was a plan, a father and a spirit, they all came together to concoct this plan. In this day and times, the father and the spirit, they would be in jail for that death. Nobody would be celebrating that, and nobody should. So if Mary gave consent, then that means she too was in on this plot as well. You see, think about the big picture. These people do not think about the big picture. They only read what's put in front of them. The Bible, when you think, you need to think about the stories deeply. A mother gives birth to a child knowing that at the age of 33, he's going to be killed because one God somewhere decides that he wants to save humanity. And you see, the worst part of the whole thing, the worst part of the whole Christian narrative is all of this because two people ate a fruit. Two people ate a fruit. And so someone has to die this barbaric death. A girl has to be inseminated by this, just think about it. Just because two people ate a fruit makes no sense.
Yeah, totally. Thank you for addressing that comment because it slipped my attention. So Esther, just to kind of end this on a slightly lighter note and let you also go, because I have taken way more of your time. So a lot of people, I think they pretty much share the same sentiments. So where is it? A lot of people are Merry Christmas, Shane Wilson, to my fellow atheists. I enjoy the
Atheist,
celebration in a
yay.
secular way. Merry Christmas to you
Shane,
too, Shane.
has Shane Wilson got a channel? I think
Shane Wilson, do you have a channel? If so, let us know.
sounds like someone I follow. So
Potentially then.
when I was coming out of Christianity, I just any atheist or anybody doing debates, and I just follow everybody.
And Ray, the producer here, he had a nice comment to kind of like wrap this up on as well. Ray is saying there's a great lesson here. All religion should be cultural. Let's celebrate one another's festivals and enjoy all the yummy food, music, and colors with none of the mumbo jumbo. I totally
Absolutely.
agree. Preach, Ray, because that's exactly how it should be. Vedant saying it's just a stupid tree, important as life and love. Yeah, the tree is also beautiful, by the way, in its own right. Let's not discount how gorgeous a Christmas tree looks. It's just yeah, I love Christmas trees. I love the whole thing. I love the fun. I love it all. Jesus is said to be born in the spring. Yeah. Well, there you go. There's nothing Christian left within this. This is just a marriage of convenience between pagan beliefs and Christianity at the time, and it's merged, and Christmas has evolved even since then to what we have today. Shane Wilson was saying, here in Australia, Christmas is a time for beach life, barbecues, and chilled
Barbecues
beer.
and lovely weather too in Australia.
Honestly, how do they have sunshine at a time like this? But beach, barbecue, and chilled beer sound like all three of those are a vibe. So it really, really sounds like a vibe. I hope you have an amazing Christmas in the sunshine. Lucky you. We're going to be like stuck here in front of fireplaces just to keep warm. But it adds to the ambience. But yeah, I just basically Afro-Humanist, you're getting so much love in the comments. Ray saying, preach Afro-Humanist.
Thank you.
B just saying, thank you, Nuria and Esther. Esther is fire. I love her frank, no nonsense approach. Yes, you are fire, Esther. I hope you're feeling the love that you're getting in the chat. Cheers to all. So yeah, I guess we'll end it on this note. Esther, thank you so much for being here. I just want to say, if I'm not live before that, I'm Ray, you and I have to schedule our Urdu podcast, but if I'm not live before Christmas, which I hopefully will be, Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you have a banging, amazing Christmas. Spend time with your family, loved ones, eat good food, chill out, don't take life too seriously, enjoy yourselves. It's a time to just unwind, relax, just as Esther was saying, a new year's coming, reflect, figure out what you're going to do in the new year, and yeah, just have a good, like, live and let live and spread the love and joy and good vibes, really. Esther, I'll leave you with the closing remarks and then we'll call it a night.
Yeah, I would say that you can be good without God, without any deities, without any make believe fairy tales and things that do not exist. We are good people. We don't need this additional. Someone said mumbo jumbo. We don't need that. So that those are my final words.
Yeah, no, amazing. And thank you so much for all your insight tonight. It has been wonderful. Esther, I'm sure we'll have you back on because what you've talked about tonight has given me so many like times when I had brainwaves and I was like, oh, that's a whole other thing we could go on to, especially when you're talking about stories, comparing the Islamic and Christian ones. We'd have a field day. Believe you me,
yes.
over some jollof rice, we could get some serious stuff going.
Listen,
So,
we definitely need to get into that conversation because in Nigeria, because there's Christians, Muslims, there's constant warring between these two religions. In Islam, then comes along Boko Haram. Boko Haram, they
Yes.
say, oh, you other Muslims are not doing Islam right. We've come to clean up Islam, and we are the true. It's all a mess, and the places where look at the Chibok girls. I don't know if you heard about the girls that were taken, the
By Boko
Christian
Haram?
girls that were taken by the Boko Haram,
Yeah.
and these girls were made to accept Allah and Muhammad as
Mm-hmm.
their
Yeah.
and to date is this constant. ah, we need to
Yeah,
have
no,
these
actually,
conversations.
yeah, Esther, we'll do a full thing because I've just very ever so lightly touched on Boko Haram and what they're like doing to these girls who they're taking essentially as sex slaves. But again, this was more kind of I just wanted my audience to become familiar with you and understand your background and your life story. But there's definitely things that we need to go into in a lot more detail just because they need to be talked about. Music Guide 20, I fully second what you're saying. Africa needs to be talked about more. 100%. We need to make these discussions so much more mainstream. So yeah, I guess on that note, Esther, you and I will keep in touch as we have been.
Hmm. Hmm.
And thank you so much for dealing with my kind of my timing issues today because I've just been driving up and
It's
down the
okay.
country like a mad woman. Sorry. But yeah, thank you so much, Esther. It's been an absolute pleasure. Love and light to everybody. Merry Christmas if I don't speak to you before then. Good night from
Merry
England.
Christmas. Happy
Merry
holidays.
Happy holidays, guys. Yeah, and if you can all definitely please show your love. Esther's channel is also in this description. And until then, yeah, take care, everyone. Stay free. And thank you so much for all the love and support today. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye, everyone.